Scandinavian Bob here, hi. So there's a relatively new, serious study published in the Journal of Addiction Science that took a look at benefits from abstaining from fapping to porn. They took a look at 21 single men who abstained from fapping to porn for 3 weeks and how they responded to that. And this was a pretty well conducted study, as they also had a control group for better and more robust data. And they found some really interesting things. Now, before I share their findings, you might be thinking, but 3 weeks may be too short of a period for everyone to notice benefits. And sure enough, in the conclusion of the study, we can find the following text, quote, 3 weeks may be too short of a period to reveal the full benefits of APM. By the way, APM means abstinence from porn and masturbation here. Earlier studies suggest that an overstimulated reward system still shows recovery progress after multiple months of abstinence. Future studies could thus research longer periods of APM. Unquote. Yeah, this is very interesting because my long-time subscribers have heard me say that even though it's possible to start experiencing results pretty quickly, it is also possible to keep improving for many months after you notice the first benefits roll around. And here it says then, earlier studies suggest that an overstimulated reward system, that's the dopamine system by the way, still shows recovery progress after months of abstinence. Okay, so that's very interesting and something to keep in mind for you all. Okay, so here comes some quotes from the study mentioning the benefits. Quote, we found evidence that APM reduces mental and physiological fatigue and shyness and increases self-control, activity, wakefulness, and inspiration. Intriguingly, our results are highly congruent with the findings of a recently published qualitative study, which found improved mood, motivation, mental clarity, confidence, and productivity. And a bit further down we can read, quote, our findings suggest that it is possible to realize potential beneficial effects in one's personal and social life by abstaining from pornography and masturbation. The combination of enlivening effects and strengthened self-control could raise productivity in nearly every endeavor, whether personal, athletic, or professional. Also, sexual abstinence has been used to boost peak performance, for example by elite athletes. The strongest effects were reduced mental and physiological fatigue. Fatigue leads to decreased productivity and has previously been estimated to cost employers in the US an estimated $100 billion annually. Further, fatigue has negative consequences for one's social and personal life. Experimental APM as an occupational training exercise could potentially provide benefits for both employees and employers. We also noticed a reduction in shyness, which could lead to improvements in social life. It's conceivable that this effect could serve as a supportive tool in the treatment of social anxiety. Okay, so how about that? Do you guys think that any of that sounds familiar to you? I bet it does. Again, it just feels so incredibly nice to get reassurance from real studies that what we are doing here actually works. And here I have to add something really interesting. In the study, they obviously recognized that most of these benefits happen because guys got rid of the destructive porn. But here's the kicker. A bit further down, they also mentioned that they could not conclude if all the positive benefits guys saw were only due to elimination of porn, and that some of the benefits may potentially also stem from refraining from ejaculation. How about that, guys? It's just like we talked about here on this channel so many times before, that quitting porn is what's going to give you the biggest benefits. But then, if you feel like it, you can add a bit of semen retention in periods here and there on top of that. Just if you're up for the challenge, of course. And that can then perhaps give you some additional benefits as well. Well, To be clear, they could not say with certainty if it was the abstinence from ejaculation in and of itself that gave the additional benefits, or if it was just abstinence from sexual arousal in and of itself. Because here's a quote from the study. Both groups showed significantly reduced mental and physiological fatigue compared to the control group, but the APMS subgroup, which here stands for abstinence from porn and masturbation and sex, showed even stronger reductions in reduced mental and physiological fatigue than the APM subgroup. In other words, they had several groups: abstinence from porn and masturbation and abstinence from porn and masturbation and sex. And in another place in this study, they also mention that it might just be that the group who also abstained from sex saw a faster recovery from the negative effects of porn. So again, they could not know or say if it was the retention in and of itself that gave the additional benefits there. But here too, it's just like we have said, that the fastest recovery from, for example, PIED seems to happen for guys who also abstain from sex for a period of time, especially in the beginning of their reboot. But again, they did recognize that quitting porn was behind most of these benefits, because they acknowledged that it is probably because of porn's super stimulating effects on the dopamine system that it causes negative effects for guys who use it regularly. Here are just a few lines from the study about that. Quote, "Internet porn contains additional arousal promoting elements that can cause even higher levels of arousal than partnered sex," unquote. And, quote, "Internet pornography has been proposed as a supernormal stimulus, that is, an artificially enhanced and more stimulating version of a natural reward," unquote. And, quote, "Internet pornography offers nearly an unlimited number of novel pornographic videos," unquote, and on and on and on. Yes, exactly. This is what I've been saying so many times in my videos now, that with online porn you can keep your dopamine levels sky high far longer than what you can do in a real romantic situation, and thus you can override your natural satiation mechanism and essentially burn yourself out. I mean, just think about it logically for a second here. If you find a way to push beyond what a system is capable of handling, of course it makes sense that parts of that system can start to break. I mean, that's just bloody obvious. Alright, I just wanted to share this with you as it was a serious study to help reassure you that by doing NoFap and being a dopamine focused warrior, we are indeed walking an amazing path here. So let's keep walking it, because it is truly an amazing one. If you need help with ending your relapses, then you can read about my 4-step porn crushing system using the link below. And if you're interested in discovering a bit more about my backstory of just how addicted I was, how I figured out the concept of said system, and finally overcame my addiction, then you can take a look at this video right here and you will see exactly what I mean.